Hi, I'm Manash Sinha Roy and my firm's name is Practice Design. I started my architectural career in 2003 where I was with a firm for 10 years, and after that we started this new firm in 2012. It's been a good journey so far. We had started with 2 studios, one in Calcutta and one in Bombay. Fortunately, the kind of projects that we were involved with in this 10 years was almost like a mixed bag. Initially, we had started with large mixed-use developments, then slowly we moved into high-end residential architecture. Through that residential architecture, we went into residential interiors, then commercial interiors. Now again, we have gone back to large-scale mixed-use developments, institutional projects. So far, it has been a good journey. I'm from Andamans, and we had a few seats which were for architecture. So there were few states in India which didn't have architectural education, and the college that I got an opportunity to study had one seat from those states. And at that point of time, I felt that I have topped the state for whichever field I am in. So that's where I got into architecture. So there was no, as such, there was no inspiration for architecture. By default, I went into it, but now I'm loving it. Keep it true, keep it minimal. That's where we started the journey with. We think to do great design, we don't need to always have expensive materials in the palette. It should be as grounded as possible, as earthy as possible, and as less, like some time ago we were discussing, to use as less natural resources as you can. That is how we shape up. Of course, functionality comes first. Aesthetics, like I said, we keep it as minimal as possible. So we actually believe that if things are kept very functional and minimal, they are always aesthetically pleasing. It's only when you start doing much with it, too much of cladding, too much of materiality being used, that's when you have to manage the aesthetics. If it is bare minimum, aesthetics comes automatically if it is functional. Sustainability should come by default. It is not something which needs to be designed. When you have started designing, initially, say 20 years ago, we were in the format where we had to design things to become sustainable, where there were ratings, there were formats. That was the new thing which was popping up. Now, right from your toothpaste to the buildings are all sustainable, has to be sustainable for its survival. So when you design, it has to be sustainable. What are the factors that you have to take into consideration? All the natural resources that should be properly utilized and not wasted. Very contextual as far as possible within the whichever city, whichever area we are catering to. We try to be there within that zone. That's how we select our material. Conceptualization to execution, we have got 3 steps rather. When we conceptualize, we try to take the brief from the client and make sure that whatever the client has in mind is captured properly and functionally. From there we get into the look and feel, where again all these sustainability factors and our philosophy of aesthetics comes into the picture. So there we make the look and feel. From there we go into the schematic design, where all the services are built in, and we try to create a package which has got all factors catered to. And then it goes into the execution drawings, where we make drawings so that the contractors can understand what is to be built and how it is to be built. In India, the climatic conditions are very interesting. Unlike Western countries, the climate is very conducive and there are variants in this. So opportunities, if we say, then there's a lot of opportunity to do it, utilizing all the natural resources and orientation of the buildings, and all those things can be well taken care of. We don't need to imitate the Western buildings. because there the climatic conditions are different. With local resources, with using all the local building materials and local resources, if we are able to achieve a contemporary stylization of architecture, keeping the context also in mind, then that's the best that can happen to the kind of Indian architecture that's happening. Every project is unique, every project has got its own challenges. We try to maneuver through the project in such a way that we can sail through. This was a farmhouse project in Bhubaneswar, which is situated in the middle of a 30 acres of land of paddy field, and this site was situated right in the center. But the client had an aspiration to build a tropical forest within that space with his farmhouse. So it was a big challenge, because if you build a tropical forest, tall trees there, and then create a water channel. So we had been able to do it with a lot of hurdles. We had to fill the entire land. Then because of the paddy field, the water level was high. The buildings had to be raised. But then we had been able to do it. We had handed over this project some 3 years back. But it was, there were certain things, like I said, that because it was a paddy field, the water level was high, so we had to raise the buildings. The water goes below the buildings. These are cottages though. It's a farmhouse. It's a 5-acre land that we had converted it into. We try to use technology as far as possible on the functional aspects and not make it gimmicky. So there are a lot of products, lot of things which are advanced in technology, but they are more playful, more gimmicky, more. So we try to use technology as far as possible, which is more helpful from the functional aspects. That a lot of things, like the elderly people need some assistance, where technology can help a lot. With the lighting, lux levels, technology can help a lot. Minimizing the resource required. So all those functional aspects we try to involve technology and do less with gimmicks.